birthday.
Oh, great.
Long ago,
So,
when they did
laugh
that.
until they leave.
Old Bay right now is a wetland mitigation tank. So it's wet. It stays wet. It has to.
It is. It's the beginning.
They claim that there are no fences across that main big canal route to bring that water this way. Fast. Something is different.
Oh, it's different. It is different.
I don't know what.
I don't know my books. I don't know my books.
Yeah, but you're gonna stick around for the ag. How many to the ag part, aren't they? up
Into
there?
James Canyon.
Bothering you later.
It was one of the hunts.
I bet you don't see anybody. They cut off.
Ready for turkey time.
The doctors.
The road.
Won't be long with
This
it.
is recent.
I don't know how they started it, but
Sounds like he,
Don't blame him.
like, it's got to be turned on that. Like,
It's definitely coming from that direction.
that's when everyone's like, I'm going back there to go see what. No, I go visit because we're back there. No. What about that?
We've asked Travis, we've asked Sangrani, because they've had to, are used to travel south. Now we know that Dutchess is north of Spring Creek, comes westward towards Ellison, Ellison. I don't know where it's coming from.
November, he won't be quite good turkey.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, purple for it, but it just was kind of.
Because you're not supposed to direct it differently than it has gone historically.
Well. Yeah.
Maybe I'll get you to show me on the map where they are.
Sheldon, that have popped over all the way into highway, big trees, because of all the water we've had, right? And
Well, we'll go ahead and get started. Everyone stand, Mr. Dent.
Father, we come again, thanksgiving in our hearts, knowing that you're God and such as this, brother. Father, we come thanking you for these that in our meeting tonight. Father, let it be known that the five that stand tall, stand right, stand for righteousness. We appreciate those that come. We appreciate those that think it's not robbery. And we bless you. Father, as we come to our meeting now, thank you for the guidance you're going to give us, and let your guidance be right with you. We thank you for the wars and all over this land and country. You know all about it. You know about peace. We seeking peace. Thank you, Lord. Thank you again. And we can always give you the praises. But when praises go up, blessings do come down. We stand in the need of a blessing right now. These blessings and all the blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
welcome everyone to our meeting this Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, 6 p.m. We have a conference line set up. The number there is 1-917-900-1022. Access code is 32347#. This is not a toll-free number, and you may be subject to long distance charges for use on this plan. The chairperson opens the meeting for public comment. Please follow the rules of instruction. If you wish to speak, please dial *5. The moderator will unmute your line when it's your turn to speak and notify you by announcing your last 4 digits of your telephone number. Please announce your name and address, and you will be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. Any person wishing to address the board regarding an agenda item will be given 3 minutes for comment. A commenter may only speak 1 time for each agenda item. With that, we'll move to number 3. Did everyone get the revised agenda with the removals? We have a motion to approve our agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve our revised agenda. All in favor? We have our consent item. Then we'll have a chance to look over your consent item. Any questions, discussion?
Second.
A motion and a second to approve our consent item. All in favor? Order 19. Bids, public hearing. The board will receive bids set for this day at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible for ECG management system project and EMA.
Well, we have one bid.
The bid committee will be Sarah Grambling, Marcia Durden, and Daniel Huffmaster for both of the hospital proposals.
All right, the first one is from Baxter, or the only one is from Baxter. It's $93,436.20.
Mr. Chairperson, does the board wish to award to the lowest apparent bidder based upon all the documentation being in order and all of our requirements being met? Or do you want the bid committee to bring it back to the board?
And what was that? I didn't get the whole number, 93,000?
$94,436.20.
436?
36.20, yeah.
I mean, that's the, wish the board, do we wanna?
We can bring it back to the board once the bid committee meets, because
You would have to review all the information, correct?
we can bring it back. I don't think there's any huge rush. Okay.
All right. We, nothing to do there at this time?
Correct.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right. So we'll move on to 20. 20, the board received bids set for this date at 6:05 PM or as soon thereafter as possible for concrete apron rehabilitation phase 2.
All right, we have one bid for it. And it's Teddy Bone Concrete Construction out of Panama City.
Mr. Chairperson, the bid committee for this will be Melody Cox, Avcon Consulting, myself, and Ward Kettering.
Total base bid is $880,800.
You want this thing here, bring up the board? About a minute, so we can get ready to go.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and read it, maybe we'll be close.
Right, 21, the board to receive bids set for this date at 6:10 PM or as soon thereafter as possible for digital C-arm project at DMH.
Mr. Chairperson, that will be the same bid committee, Sarah Grambling, Marcia Durden, and Daniel Puffmaster.
All right, we have 3 bids on this one. This bid is from GE Healthcare. If they're hidden this one down in there somewhere. There we go. $207,850.50. $207,850.50, and this is GE Healthcare.
Healthcare, what was that one?
GE Healthcare, they're the ones bidding on this.
EL?
Healthcare, yep, GE Healthcare, like General Electric, yeah. The next one is from OrthoScan, Scottsdale, Arizona, OrthoScan. OrthoScan is $283,672.63. $283,672.63. This one is from Phillips Global Business Services. Phillips Global Business Services. I found the price on this one. Well, let somebody else look. So there's one section that says pricing or quotations. And it says, in this version of our RFP response, pricing has been redacted as a proprietary information. I don't know. I'm looking this other one to make sure, but. Like that pricing. I don't know if anybody from Phillips is here or on the phone. Is there anybody on the phone? Wait, hold on, this one might have, this one's got a price on it, okay. I don't know why I answered that, that one. Okay, this one's got one. Yeah. All right, so the price on this one is $182,304.80. That's it for those, for that one.
We'll just bring it back in.
Yes, sir.
Move to number 2. The board received bids 7 Tuesday, 2:15 PM or soon thereafter as possible for First Avenue Southeast widening resurfacing.
And we have one bid from Anderson, Columbia.
The bid committee will be myself, Nick Evans, our public works director, and Scott Knight, our road superintendent. So we want to bid one.
The total lump sum bid price is $3,897,951.80. $3,897,951.80.
Who that bid from?
Anderson, Columbia.
Well, the good news is in line with the engineer's estimate. The not so good news is it is above the available funds, so I won't make a recommendation this evening. We will look through the bids, or the bid documentation, make sure everything is compliant. I'll probably wind up requesting a bid tabulation to get a little more in depth of where the dollar figures are. And then we will reach out to DOT, to see if there's a possibility for some additional funding concessions. We've got some money left on another project that's going on that I'll try to see if they'll have an earmark for this one. But obviously there's a on the budget, after addressing the design and CEI proposal that we have, I've got about 500 grand, I think, on another job, if they'll let me keep it in the same funding year and switch it between jobs. I'm gonna suggest that to kind of lessen the burden a little bit, and then, we'll ask them about the rest of it.
What was that?
Obviously, that's what I'm gonna ask for the bid tabs on that. Like I said, it is not far off from the engineer's estimate. If you remember, we took and kind of expanded a little bit to include the sidewalk portion of it, which expands your shoulder, it gets into a little bit more field requirements, a lot of concrete. It's becoming a very urbanized area down there to where, you have a lot of points of access and side drains through there. So it's not a shock that it's at that level of expense. It's just somewhere to have to talk to DOT and see if we can get them to see if they'll be willing to include some additional funding for it. I hope they will. At worst, we might be able to get them to consider a subsequent year funding cycle, like getting into July 1 when new monies become, but that may be that you do one and delay the next one, and some things like that. Well, may have to get creative on this. That's that far away.
You're saying you're $2 million short for funding?
Yes, sir. Based on the original approvals. We were at a 2.6 million or so of the original, and that versus the 3.8. The engineer's estimate was 3.7, so it's not far off.
What would you expect time frame on understanding would be from DOT?
I will reach out tomorrow. When they are able to provide a response, I'm not real sure. Like I said, it may be, the best of all worlds would be that they have some left over from other jobs that's sitting there. As you're getting closer to the end of the year, they'll look for ways to spend it as opposed to losing it. Kind of the worst case scenario would be worse scenario would be that we have to wait till July 1 to get into a new fiscal year, new state fiscal year. And then the worst of all scenarios would be, we're sorry, we don't have any additional money. So at that point in time, we'll look at the possibility of scope revisions and still maintaining the integrity of the project itself. That may mean that, you do different things on the job to kind of get the cost more in line. But a job of this magnitude and the components that you have on it, including the box culvert replacement, a healthy portion of new sidewalk. Like I said, a lot of the drainage is costly. So I was just kind of going through some of the numbers, on the cost estimate, and, you're right at $500,000 in just asphalt alone. So when you're looking at costs like that, it doesn't take many more of the other components to make the cost go up. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim Zerber from Steen Hatchie. Thank you, Kenneth. We got the right man that's going to go in there and try to get this paving job done. It's been long time coming. But I want to remind you, not trying to fault anyone, but the same company that's going to do the paving, by today's estimates, we gave them a $500,000 piece of property next to Gulf Breeze condos. Had we had a little leverage, and we never would have done that, maybe we could knock $500,000 off of a canal that's going to be part of a multi-million-dollar condominium and housing development. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? But this hurts. We all knew we were going to be short. A number like that is just absolutely scary. But there were some things we could do. So we're talking about 500 for another job, maybe DOT kicked in another million. I just look back and think that maybe the Anderson folks could have sharpened the pencil a little more and done us a better deed, knowing that that was in the works for that right away. Thank you.
All right. Go ahead.
My name is Jeff Rowe. I'm with Steen Hatchie. I'm all for KISS, just keep it simple, stupid. And I knew this was coming to, seemed to be over-engineered from the very beginning. which is not uncommon, I guess, when you consider what the Granger Bridge we just looked at. I feel like we need a street and drainage, sidewalks and all the other stuff. It's a small place. We're overdoing it. We're strapping ourselves for a lot of money that we don't have at a time when we need it the most. Everybody knows about the pulp mill. Lost a lot of money there. the DMH, they need money for health. I saw about $1.1 million just talked about right there, just like that, to make people well, which is huge. The street, I've seen streets taken up and put down in a matter of weeks, short periods of time. Go in and strip it out, clean out the drainage, put in some culverts so we have some drainage, and just keep it simple. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Thank you for listening.
I'll respond to that if you would like me to.
Well, Mike Williams, y'all know me, St. Anthony. Hey Dudley, how many feet is it?
My name is not Dudley.
Mr. Dudley,
Yes, sir.
from the whole length of First Avenue, how far is it? Was that about 6,200 feet?
It's over a mile, yes, sir.
Pardon?
It is over a mile, yes, sir.
So 1.17 miles approximately.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
If we were to just rip it up and just pave it, what's the difference in the cost? You're probably looking at about $10 a square foot,
No,
right?
you're not. No, absolutely not. So first of all, you don't have, and I'll try to control my tone. I don't believe yourself nor the other gentleman have once looked at the design that is proposed down there
No, we
to
haven't.
stand up and make a qualification that it is over-designed and inconsistent with state requirements on how roads are constructed. At the point that you want to do that and talk about something intelligently, I'll be happy to discuss it with you. With respect to saying that you can go down there and rip it up, the keep it simple stupid is exactly what that is, because it is oversimplified to the point that is ignorant. You need to understand what you're talking about before you come up here and make allegations with respect to how something is designed and how it should be designed. I'll be happy to educate you any day of the week that you'd like to discuss this. But to sit up there and to make blatant remarks about the quality of these designs, this was actually designed by a consulting firm.
You
in
didn't hear me
Kansas.
say that.
No,
You
and
just say that.
I'm
You didn't hear me
discussing
say
that.
that. Well, don't talk to me like that.
Then don't say that it can be just ripped up and put back for $10 a
I
square
just asked
foot,
a
because it
question.
can't.
I asked a question. I just asked a question. If we simplify, let's go back to the drawing board if we have to. Let's don't waste our taxpayers' money on this. That's just, in my opinion. That's all I have to say.
And then last remark, there is hardly a time ever that we intentionally or deliberately misuse, misrepresent, or waste taxpayers' money. I am a taxpayer in this county, and I take it extremely serious that what we do is what is necessary. There are state requirements that address safety. There are state requirements that address the structural integrity of the road. That is the guidelines that we meet when we go through and make these designs. It is nothing more than that. We're not down there embellishing anything for anyone. We put in what is required. Unfortunately, when you get a job like this, that has this level of infrastructure and is at the point in which it is that needs the care because it hasn't been addressed for a long time, it takes something. You just alone in the cost estimate, there was from mobilization and MOT was over $600,000. That's just to show up and handle the traffic. That's not even doing anything. So it's missed by a lot of folks that see these big dollars, that don't understand the intricacies of the project, to think that it's a waste of money when it takes that on all the jobs. The cost estimate that was put together was based on a regional and a statewide average from the last 6 months from DOT's projects. That's why you're seeing the cost so in line with what the engineer's estimate is. And I would be happy for anyone to want to look at these designs
and understand what they're looking at before we make this conclusion of, well, this is a waste of money, or this is beyond what it should be.
You're saying the proposal made was based on the DOT requirements.
Absolutely. The cover sheet alone, the cover sheet of every plan set identifies the standards that we are required to comply with, every plan set.
Mr. Chairperson, and that's in order to receive state funding, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Kenneth, you've done an excellent job for the 13 years that I've been here. And for people to get up that don't know what they're talking about, you don't deserve them to speak to you and disregard your opinion. You've done an excellent job every time.
I appreciate it, and I do apologize for getting excited, but it was recently that, someone stand up here and said, no, what you've done doesn't comply with this, when they knew full well it did. And now to stand up here and say, oh, well, this is a waste of money, we shouldn't be doing this. That's fine if that's your opinion, but don't base that on the quality of the design that is driving that cost.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hi, I'm Joanne Norquist, and the quality of the design, I've not seen it, but I'm sure it's excellent because I've heard your work is excellent. I think where we're having a gap here is the understanding of the community of what's included in the design, and to say it's over-engineered. When you don't have all the details as a community, that's where things become kind of blind to us. So I think what the community may be asking for is, what is included? And is there a possibility, I remember when I would put out bids and things, is there a possibility to say, well, this is not necessary, but, would like to have versus a must-have? And I think that's what we're asking. Thank you.
I'll just hit a couple of the highlights that's in this design. So this is, as you all know, expectedly, this is a major collector road that goes through Steinhatchee. Currently, those lanes are at roughly 10 foot. Some a little bit less than 10 foot, most of them right around 10 foot. We are taking that to the state standard 12-foot lane width. Based on the trip generations, or the ADT, which is an average daily trip for vehicles that travel that road, there are shoulder width requirements. There are clear zone requirements. All of that says that your road is 12 feet lanes, 24-foot total width. You have an obligation to put I believe it was 8 foot on this one, 8-foot shoulder. And then you have obligations to make sure that all above ground hazards are a certain distance away based on the speed of the road and the trips that are on that road. All of that is incorporated into the design. The other primary things that are in there is the First Avenue box culvert is currently like 2 6x8s that go under that road. There is a concern with respect to the drainage of the area north of there, that we needed to look at the drainage of that being a bottleneck. That was done through the Army Corps. That was modeled. It was found that we could increase that to 3 barrels, where you have 3 6-foot barrels, because we couldn't jeopardize the funding associated with this project if we took it to 20 feet long, because it becomes quote unquote a bridge. So we kept it less than that. We had it evaluated. It actually performed a little better, which is what we were after, by putting in those 3 barrels. The other aspect that we were under the impression that it was a community desire was actually extending the sidewalk for a pedestrian path to get those pedestrians out of the mainline roadway. Now that drives a lot of the cost, because there's a 5-foot sidewalk that needs a footprint to sit on. We know that from about 6th Street all the way up to Park is nothing but an open salt area. If you recall back some time, we spent $150,000 on wetland mitigation credits, simply because the front slope was extending down into that area. All of that has to be built out so that that sidewalk may be extended all the way through there. When you extend a sidewalk, that box culvert needs to get a little bit deeper, longer, on the drainage path, so that you can take those pedestrians across there and not get them out into the road. All of these things are contributions to the overall cost of it, none of them are beyond what would consider meeting those state standards, those minimum standards. And that's literally what we try to shoot for is, what do we have to meet? It's not what could we meet. And so it's literally, and I was just thumbing through the costs to just kind of have it in my mind. It's when you start thinking about, you're putting in these drainage, as it was made mention. Okay, well, that means a side drain underneath each one of these driveways that access that point. Well, a culvert underneath there also has mitered end sections. It is not uncommon for every one of those to be right around 5 grand. So you start adding up how many different driveways are through there and start tallying this stuff, you can see that it's easy to hit several $100,000 in just putting drainage through there. So, excuse me, these are the things that are driving that cost up. Anybody is welcome to look at the plan set. It has actually been on our webpage under the bid section for the whole month that we've been advertising it. You know, we don't do anything in secret. We brought that whole plan set here before this board and requested public advertisement of it. So anybody that wants to look at this, they are welcome to. Anybody that wants to understand it better, they are welcome to make a visit to my office. I will gladly go over it with you. Mr. Hart, he's one that come and sat down. We went through it early on in the process so that he was able to say, this is what I'm hearing, tell me what is actually happening. I told him there was a difference. You know, so if it takes that to get you at a peace of mind to where you believe, okay, the county's moving in the right direction for what the community is desiring, do it. You know, call me. I'll be happy to say that.
Okay. Sure. Mr. Dudley, this project is funded by DOT through the Scratch Grant program. And they're fully aware of what the scope of this project is. I mean, there's no secret details or something that they're not aware of. Is that fair?
It is fair because the process is this is how it works. So we submit a road list 5 years ago and say, we want to do this one. We want to ask you for funding to redo this. This is actually a SCOP project, a Small County Outreach. And because of the SIGP, because of the sidewalk bringing things off of Riverside, we are allowed to use the county community incentive grant program, the SIGP. So that added some additional dollars to this project. We put together a design. Actually, we put the project, we even tell them who we're going to let design it or who's going to inspect it. And then we put the design together and send it to them. They have to agree that it meets their standards and is acceptable for us to even get an authorization to advertise. When I saw the bid or the statement of probable cost being noticeably out of line with the funding, that was sent to them as soon as I received it. So they are not going to be blindsided tomorrow when I talk to them. They know already and have known for several months how much we expect it to come in at versus how much money has been allocated to this project. So we tried to keep an open dialogue with DOT. They are the ones that hold the purse strings. So surprises don't usually go over well.
They also can reference inflation costs and how things have become more expensive since the scope of this project has been written out and designed. So they have other ways that they could comp similar work that's being done on this project as to something that's been accomplished in the last 3 years.
And that has been used as justifications on funding requests before. You know, like I said, this was part of the work program, which has a 5-year lead time on it. The old days, the inflation of what we expected costs to do is nothing like what costs are doing. So, you know, there's a definite gap between where we expected the dollars to be or the cost to be and where they are at today. Absolutely. And DOT knows this. They're seeing it themselves. You know, and the way they handle it is you cut back projects, you know, so that you can fund the ones that you have. And that's what I'm going to suggest to them.
And in that experience, I mean, have we had to do that? We've gotten additional funding for other projects recently.
Yeah, the one that I told you that I had some extra funds that I was going to try to do that was one that we took and said, hey, you know, look, we're undervalued on this. We need to try to reach, try to receive additional funding for this. They were very generous in what they gave us. Hindsight 2020, as Mrs. Urbick said, had Hurricane Idalia not happened, I wouldn't be telling you I had 500,000. I would probably tell you that I would have closer to $1 million to go towards that. So I knew that money was overstated on that project, but I wasn't telling them, hey, you need to take this back now, because my thoughts are down the line. I knew this one was coming. And I feel that we may have a little more leverage if we have the money encumbered to us now. Hopefully they'll allow me to unencumber it to go to another Taylor County job. That's what I'm after.
So there is a probability that we'll see help as far as funding in this project, able to move forward.
I've stood before this board more than once telling you that I don't know why or how they get what they give us, but they give us money hand over fist routinely.
We'll have that same expectation.
You know what? Prepare for war and pray for peace.
I understand.
Maybe hope is a better word.
I'm sorry?
Maybe hope is a good word.
I see. Okay. Well, I just also say, and I appreciate that, that's what I wanted to try to understand here this evening, but I'll go on the record to say, I've invited and encouraged members of the public to come out and speak and understand and take part in these meetings. And what I'll say is, I think this board has put forth that in inviting and making the public welcome. So I want to thank you personally for coming forward, for speaking, for having a part. And I'd also say that our members of the public shouldn't be scolded when they do come forward and when they do ask questions. So for us to say, hey, you're welcome, please come out to the meeting, and for that kind of experience to go on, it's more than unfortunate, it's unnecessary, and I don't appreciate it. And I don't take that lightly. So please be welcome, and please attend, and please take a part, and please come back. And thank you. All right. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, folks, Carlos Northcliffe from Steenhatchee. And I'd like to make a statement, and that would be is we in Steenhatchee, or Steenhatchians, have felt for a while now a dislocation from down here in Perry. And of course, a lot of people, they just don't come out, period, end of story. We understand that. But there are quite a few people that would like to be involved, and for purposes of whether it be age or vehicles or whatever the case might be, are not able to come out here. Very thankful on the behest of us for the people that did come from Steenhatchee tonight. I wanted them to see how things work within our government. I do have a suggestion that I would like to bring up before the board, is that if we could set up some form of Zoom meeting, maybe once a month out of the twice that you get together, at least to start. If we can get that set up, my wife would be very much willing to help on that. She's been 42 years in IT. She knows it from the top down. She started when you didn't even have a green screen. So we're asking if we could possibly have some form of Zoom meeting going past this. Really, we're in the 21st century. We need to get past just having what we have now, is what I'm asking. We appreciate what we have now, but we'd like to take it one step further with the Zoom. And I believe it could be accomplished. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairperson, just for benefit of the public, all of our meetings are available via Facebook Live
Yes.
and call in on the conference line. And anyone's able to speak just as they would be for a Zoom meeting or with a Zoom meeting. And we've had that technology in place since COVID.
It's just some people don't have computers and things of that nature. That's
He's
the
thinking about
problem.
community center to get together as a
It would be
coordinator.
the same, Facebook Live would be the same as Zoom. It's the same. And we can talk after the meeting.
Okay.
After the
Yeah.
Yes, I think we've already had some communication.
Thank
You're not, maybe someone else, let's talk after the meeting. There's some issues we need to look at, but we'll talk
Okay.
after. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to, public request item 24. Board to consider approval of application for solid waste hauling service permit requested by Slade Hendry.
Mr. Jefferson, I don't know if he's in the audience. I've actually sent him a message to make sure that he would be attending. I don't, we didn't discuss. I mean, it's possible I know I discussed with him the meeting, but maybe he didn't realize he needed to present his item. Do you want to table this, or do you want to discuss?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he should be here probably.
Okay.
Maybe we can just reach out to him and we put it on our next meeting agenda? Would that be?
Okay, we'll table.
We don't want to just blow it to the.
No, I don't want to disregard. It's possible he didn't quite understand that he needed to be here in person and that I would not be presenting on his behalf maybe, but I'll reach out to him. Okay.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table item number 24 for the next meeting or whenever he can get here.
Second.
Motion and a second to table item 24, all in favor? Constitutional officers, other governmental units. 25, the board to consider approval of request to submit an application for public safety complex design funding presented by Mr. John Lau, Emergency Management Director. Did I get it right, Bert?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. The state has allocated $3 million for the design of emergency operation centers. As we've, discussed here before, not just in Taylor County, several counties, throughout the state. This funding primarily is for the counties that were affected by, Idalia. And it was obviously, there's a lot of counties, most of the counties affected were, about the size of Taylor County. And all of them have petitioned for larger EOCs. So to help with that, obviously you need to have, project, funding, planning and all that sort. So they have offered a $3 million, the application, you should have a copy of it in your packet. I've already completed the application for the county. All I need is your permission to submit it, for the chair to sign it, and I'll get it submitted, and that's what we're submitting before the end of this month. And what that funding obviously will do, it will provide us funding for the planning, blueprinting, that sort of thing, for the new public safety complex for Taylor County.
Motion to approve.
I'm so sorry, Commissioner Feeble. If I may, the only thing I'd like to point out is that this application, you probably should have done the items the other way around. So this application includes a new site that you would like the board to approve. Do you need to hold off on approving and I'm sorry, I just realized that.
It's on the agenda, it's just maybe backwards.
It's backwards.
Well, you want to go ahead, could you go ahead and speak to that now? And just
that-
call my motion?
It's all the same animal, so to speak.
So, I mean, really, I would presume we're gonna not have any trouble. But just whatever you like to do.
The motion stands.
I'd like to put something on it. You saying it's gonna be at a different location?
Oh, yes, sir.
Item 26.
Yeah, item 26, but the thing is, have you already picked the location?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the next item on the agenda and
Let's move to item 26, just kind of get an order, Mr. Bishop. 26 would be the board to consider appropriation request of parcel 06060-200 to be used as the building site for the new public safety complex and shelter fitted by Mr. Mao. So You want to just maybe just speak on where this location may be?
Sure. Coming off of, Highway 19, right there at the intersection of 19 and 30. When you go west on Carlton Cemetery Road, it's down there, and it's gonna be pretty much on the back side of the airport. And it is, that parcel itself, is 20 acres plus or minus, that the county already owns. And that site was, met with, Dan Castle, the fire chief, and the under sheriff. And, there was another location that we looked at. However, there were several reasons why we chose that location for the new public safety complex. One, accessibility. Two, the additional, use of the airport. Obviously, you're aware that during Idalia and other storms that the airport was used for, staging and of emergency supplies and staff and the whole 9 yards. So having it there, in our opinion, would be the best, decision for the county.
But you have plenty of access and there's no issues of flooding or the elevation sufficient.
Well, all that is going into it, but as far as, the floodplain and all that stuff, I mean, it was, but all that is gonna be.
How many acres would it take to do your project on, out of that 20?
Well, that's a part of the planning phase. I know that just the building itself, we're looking at a rough 20,000 square feet, plus, the additional space outside of that for parking, of equipment, staging of equipment. 20 acres would definitely be plenty.
Do you think it'd take the whole thing up?
I would say the whole thing, but I'm hoping half. At
Well,
least.
what we had talked about later on, maybe using that area for something to do with the roll-off site business. Because our roll-off sites are getting pretty crowded right there on, Carlton Cemetery Road. And we talked about maybe one day, using that as an area too,
Okay, I wouldn't worry about that,
But I mean, that's just something that we talked about, because we're running, this place is changing, there's more and more people coming, more and more everything, so we're gonna have to eventually have a spot to increase the size of our roll-off site.
John, do you have any idea of exactly how much acreage you think you would need? I mean,
No, ma'am, part of the reason for looking at that acreage, was some lessons learned during Idalia. Looking at like the law enforcement base camp that was staged at the sports complex, and just different areas that we had to pull together at the last minute. That was one of the reasons here, we knew that there would be enough land that we could, plan for those sort of things in the future. I mean, I understand the need of what you're talking about, but, that's all gonna go into the planning, not just for the public safety complex, also hopefully a future site for our, shelter that we were gonna build.
Well, that butts up to the fence on the airport.
Right.
What I'm saying is, right behind that fence into the airport, there's plenty of high ground too, going all the way to the abandoned runway right there. There's plenty of room right there. But there's only certain things you can use the airport for.
Right.
And y'all's use is one of the things that has always been approved.
Well, that's another point I'd like to make. Now, if you're going to use the abandoned runway, we have to get FAA approval. So I would think that this would all be contingent upon FAA approval anyway, which I don't really anticipate a problem, but, so we may have to move some things around depending on how FAA feels about it.
The runway, as you well know, it was used up until recently for all the tractor trailers and the bunk houses and stuff like that.
But that can only be used during a state of a declared state of emergency without approval from FAA.
Right.
So if this is part of your public safety complex, I'm just saying we would need to get FAA approval, which I don't anticipate an issue with.
Right.
So I would suggest that any approval is just contingent upon us working with the FAA and and ensuring that, I don't know that they would need the entire parcel. I mean, that may be things that can you take that into consideration, John, during the design phase?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm pretty sure that that parcel right there, it does not include that runway part there. But, so it would be, again, during a state of emergency, we would still have to go through that process.
I think that is a separate part, that 20 acres from the FAA controlled area. That's what I'm trying to say is anything buttoned up to it or height wise and everything right there, the airport FAA has to approve it.
That, in talks, we included obviously Ward, Kettering, the airport manager. And whenever we sat down with him, he assured us that that area there was property obviously that was available, but you cannot be in line with an active runway and that sort of thing. So that was one of the reasons why we chose it.
Commissioner Liddy, is there not room to expand where Carlton, roll-off is now? Could we purchase more land, or what's inhibiting that?
We talked about it at one time, you know, we're actually out of space right there now with all the containers that park at the end down there and all that stuff. We knew we had that 20 acres right there. Maybe one day in the future we could move that side over there. We were talking one time about having a sorting yard where we could sort the trash and move it to the, like Dixie County has, and that would have been the perfect spot for that right there on that main road, you know. I'm just bringing that up because I want everybody to have that in their mind when they go to doing this, you know.
Can the extension not happen where we are now at Carlton?
Well, we're Georgia Pacific and Four Rivers owns that land, button up to our fence all the way down side of the road, you know. And Georgia Pacific had talked at one time, if we needed more room, we could get some from them. They had said that at one time, but that was, you know, now how that's gonna go. So that'll be sideways, you know. So I just wanted to get that in the air where everybody know that was, you know. I'm fine with them putting that there myself. I mean, it needs to be right there by the airport. You need to have access to the airport from it and everything else, you know. And there is plenty of high ground right behind that 20 acres goes all the way to that abandoned runway. And there's one big bar pit right there behind it, but other than that, the rest of it's high ground, you know.
I was just wondering if the day came, what would it be like if you had your facility and maybe the housing that we talked about with a roll-off on site with,
Well, they might could put their building actually on FAA's land, but all that has to be approved through them, you know, right there. You know, they're real touchy to deal with. We've had issues with them over the years, you know, what I'm saying. You'd think they'd go along with anything that looks like it's gonna improve something, but that's not the case.
I don't think you wanna get out there and get sorting trash on the airport, would you?
Do what?
I don't think we wanna get out there and sort the trash on the airport, would we?
No.
for me, I'm fine with what he's proposing. And as I said, my motion stands for the application.
That's fine with me. We get an application or the thing in the world.
So for 25, we have a motion, item 25, we have a motion to approve, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second, all in favor? Aye. 26, we have discussed the designation of the property, we have a motion to approve. Motion. Second. Second to approve, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank y'all.
Next staff items, 28. The board to discuss possible grant submissions to the Florida Commerce Rural Infrastructure Fund grant program requesting funding assistance for the construction and installation of new gas and jet A fuel systems at the Cherry Foley Airport, presented by our grant writer. Melanie, you there?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Yep, I'm here.
Right.
have some issues with our avgas fuel system. And it may not be approved by DEP on our annual licensing. So as soon as, Wanda and I found out about it, we contacted FDOT to see what kind of funding could possibly be moved around and made available for us. And AvCon has been working with FDOT. We know we can get partial funding from FDOT for the system, but we know we're going to have shortfall. Since the Jet A system is more than 20 years old, AvCon has recommended that we replace both systems at the same time. The estimated cost is right around $1.4 million. The RIF funding cycle is currently open, and we were successful here a couple months ago with that program on obtaining $300,000 for the woods design and engineering and permitting in Steinhatchee. So we thought we might go back to RIF and try to get the additional funding for the fuel system from that program. That way you can waiver a match both ways and the board will have no expenses. It's not a traditional RIF project, but we feel like we can have a very strong grant because the airport fuel system is essential for economic development and bringing businesses into Taylor County, having fuel systems and having the airport fully operational. So we're requesting your approval to submit an application to RIF for the difference between what FDOT can fund and what we need for the system. We don't know the amount quite yet that we're going to get from FDOT, but AvCon indicated that we should know tomorrow afternoon. Our FDOT person has been out of the office for 2 weeks. She's back. She's working with a representative at FDOT, and hopefully we'll have the amount tomorrow. But I'm requesting approval to submit a grant, go on and fill it out for the difference between the amount of money that we need.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve by Commissioner Fields, and a second.
I second.
Have a second, all in favor?
Thank you.
Don't get caught, man.
I'm right here.
29, the board to consider approval of Amendment 1 to contract for State Housing Commission Partnership Program Administration Services with Government Services Group, GSG, and serve for continued program services for the administration of Hurricane Idalia Housing Disaster Recovery Services and extension of their contract as per the original contract with GSG, now known as NSERV. Agenda buyer, grant writer.
Okay, and you just get 12, and I need your approval on that, or not 12. I'm on the wrong agenda. Okay, I'm up next from that team. Okay,
We just approved. Go ahead.
we received $3,060,000, as you know, in hurricane disaster recovery funding for housing. And we are requesting an amendment to our contract with Answer for them to administer this for us as they do other SHIP funding. It will include the same services as the other SHIP, from reviewing applications, approval of applications, home inspections, work write-up, project management, the very same services, same fees as we have right now. We also have an option to renew their contract, and I didn't want us to be two contract extensions. I didn't want us to be midstream in this work, so we are requesting to go ahead and extend their contract during this period of time to see the project all the way through, so we don't have any delays on our housing recovery.
Any questions from the board? Any discussion?
How many, member? Motion approved, number one.
We have a motion and a second to approve, all in favor? Thank you, Melanie.
And while we're on LTAP, I know you approved the LTAP amendment during, the general portion, and I do want to stress that we will submit the amended LTAP to the state tomorrow. We have to wait for state approval to move forward with adding the mobile home demo, and construction of site-built homes. As soon as we have the state approval, we are required to advertise that we're accepting applications for a 30-day period before we can accept applications. We'll advertise that in the local paper, and we'll also post it on our website. After that 30-day period, we will be able to start receiving applications. So I just want to let you all know we're looking at about 45 days or so before we can start accepting applications. So we will get that submitted to Florida Housing tomorrow and hopefully get a quick approval.
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Hold on, Melanie.
not only are we can do mobile homes, we can do homes already.
Yes, we will be doing homes that already exist, site-built homes, regular homes like we always have. We're just adding that we can do, the demolition and construction of site-built homes with these disaster recovery money, with SHIP also. At this time, we can't do anything with mobile homes and SHIP, so we added that to make sure we're reaching out to all citizens that were impacted by Azalea.
Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you.
County Administrator, item 30, the board to consider approval of request to waive $5 per ton landfill surcharge per Florida Department of Transportation request for debris disposal presented by our county administrator.
So as you know, FDOT has completed debris removal on county maintained roads in Taylor County. I believe their cost for that was well over $30 million. And they contacted me about a week or so ago and asked if the board would allow for a waiver of a non-reimbursable charge, which is the $5 per ton surcharge. That they would not receive reimbursement from FEMA, and I don't think it's unreasonable to allow for that fee waiver under these special circumstances, so that is obviously up to the board. They have, I know that there has been some frustration from the state for not allowing the debris removal on non-county maintained roads, but that's not the region to the staff that we've been working with. They've been very good to work with and have made this request.
So what are they gonna do?
About,
They're through with all the debris pickup, right?
yes, ma'am.
And you're sure they've gone to every road?
I was told they did.
On the county, non-county
On the
maintained.
county maintained roads.
Yeah.
Yes, that's my understanding. But if there's something that has come to your attention, please let me know. But I was told Friday that every road was released. And our staff went with them to check the county maintained roads.
There's been some stuff put on the county road since that ride around, I can tell you.
I know that. I do know that.
Yeah, people are still putting it out there.
Well, there, folks are, also, I just saw this weekend, that was, maybe you won't see it, just driving by it, but it's kind of off hid in the bushes, so it's like big decks and whatever, just piles of stuff, so I ain't got it there yet, but anyway.
So the fiscal impact would be $23,651 that they're asking the board to waive. Of course, these are the same folks that we're going to ask for about $2 million for the Steve Hatchie project. I can ask that question. I don't think it works that way, but.
Any discussion from the board, any questions from the board here? No more discussion, I'll, obtain a motion to approve.
I move.
Motion by Commissioner Dent to approve and a second by Commissioner Newman. All in favor?
Thank you.
31, city administrator to discuss informational items.
I just wanted to bring to the board's attention that the Perry Garden Club has advised that they have some arbor day trees that they wanted to plant at some county facilities. They've asked to plant a few trees at the library and at Forest Capitol Hall. Lisa Strange would be overseeing it and asking the Master Gardener volunteers to make sure that these plants are watered because some of them, like to get their feet wet. I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention that they had, they would like to do this for us. It's not pine trees, it's more decorative trees, and it wouldn't be, enough to, it's not to replace all the pine trees that we lost during the storm. I wanted to bring that to your attention, and I also wanted to remind the board that tomorrow is Legislative Day. Commissioner Newman and I will be attending Legislative Day at the Capitol. I will bring with me a list of all of our appropriation requests and also some concerns that we have in Taylor County with debris removal, submerged debris in our waterways, debris in our non-navigable waterways, and some of those continued concerns. So I have been writing a list to review with our legislators.
So we have an opportunity then to address if emergency management is gonna be able to
That is
put on the private roads, because I'm getting a lot of calls about that.
Yes, ma'am, I am as
I
well.
understand their frustration, so.
Yes, and we're just asking for a start date or, a press release or something, so we can assure our citizens that, their non-county maintained roads will have debris removal as well.
Well, who was it that said that they were gonna do that?
Emergency management represented, actually, we've heard it twice from state emergency management. But I've asked.
No indication of when they would start.
I've asked for a list of roads, I've asked for a start date, I've asked for a press release, and have not received an answer. It did appear that we have, on non-county maintained roads, approximately 277,000 cubic yards of debris, which is about what I thought we would have. But I have not heard the plan. And keep in mind, this isn't just Taylor County. There are multiple counties involved. And it's possible they just have not formalized the plan. But we have asked for updates.
So this would be on non-county maintained roads only?
Yes, ma'am.
So like Commissioner Moody said, the people that are decided they're gonna do this or that, and they wanna put it beside the road, it would not include that.
And they got to be named roads too, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's a driveway or a road that is not named, no, I would say no.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving along, 32, comments and concerns from the public and non-agenda items. Come on now.
Hi, I'm Karen Fiacosto with Steve Hatchie. I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. I live on a neighborhood with a road name, and I was told to put my debris on the side of the road. Well, we live in the woods, so it's a lot of tree debris. My concern is I can't take it to the roll-off. I'm too old to carry it back to the middle of the yard and burn it, so it's a fire risk. So my question is, where do we bring it if nobody's gonna pick it up? And so it needs to be addressed.
I would say if you can just hold on another couple of
I mean,
weeks.
it's been 4 months. The
I-
same
I
thing happened when I
realize
lived in Alachua County. It only took them a month to come get it in the hurricane that I lived there. It's like it's taller than my head. And it's like all the way down the road. Wildwood, it's,
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you talked to my husband, thank you. I just wanted to speak my piece and let you know that many of us don't live on county roads in this county. And, if nobody's gonna pick it up, we need to know what to do with it, basically.
And I would say let us continue fighting that fight.
Okay.
I'm not
thank
ready
you.
to throw in the towel yet.
Good, thank you. It's just very frustrating. I feel animals are gonna move in.
I understand.
From the public.
My name is Betty Bronson, I live up in East Elliston. And I feel like I'm wasting my time, but I'm here one last time, I hope, to let you guys know that I desperately need somebody to come and try to do something to help me be able to get into my home whenever it floods. I had 2 alternative ways to get out. Now I have none except through the water when it gets deep and above. I have no husband, so it's just me. I have to get out and go to work. I'm fixing, if it rains again a lot, like it has been, I'm gonna have to revert back to rowing a boat at dark to try to go to work and rowing back again when I get off of work, when it is dark in the evening. I don't know what the answer is. I do know, and I'm not bashing anybody, for what was done to East Ellison Road, because as Ms. Warren said, I know the water goes to the lowest point. Well, unfortunately, since the road was undertaken, my property has become the very lowest point. There are ditches all the way up and down that East Ellison Road. There is never a drop of water in. The water comes off of my side, under the road to my side. The ditch is straight down and then out. No way for any water to go anywhere but to my property. That's the only place for it. And it gets ankle deep. Everybody else on there gets to their house. They may have water in their yard, but it's not where they cannot get into their house. And I am more or less desperate. During the hurricane, all my access to get out, besides through the water, is gone. Trees have fell on both sides, all my way, to get out. I was going to work one day last week, and I had to turn around and try to get out, to go through somebody else. No, actually, I don't remember how I got out, but I got out. But something, I called the county road department this past week to try to get the guy out there to come. If he won't come on my property, at least try to figure out some way, dig. If my place is the lowest, and it needs to go lower, if I just had something for there to be a ditch, hopefully it's just a drop off. The water has nowhere else to go. Now, I can come up with my version of ways to keep it off my property. And when that happens, it's going to divert the water further down. So the man next to my aunt's property is probably going to have water. For her, that's my uncle and my aunt and me. We all 3 are living in water every day. My uncle's house septic tank is underwater. His well gets underwater. And I cannot get in and out. Something has got to be done. I don't have the funds. The only suggestion that the man at the county said, put in a pipe and build your road up. Well, in the first place, I don't have the funds to do that, number one. And when I do, it's gonna put more water, I think. I'm no engineer, and I don't claim to be, and I don't have the education some of you people have, but I live there. I know what's going on. And if I even could do that, it's gonna put more water onto my uncle's house. And it's already been in his back room. His house is low. Yes, we are the lowest point of the road, but we weren't that way. I lived there for 15 years. And since February, after my husband died, I have been confronted with this problem. And I get up in the mornings, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get out, go to work or not. or if anything, any emergency happens. And if I want to go somewhere and get my RV and stuff out, I have to take it somewhere because I can't get it out if the water's there. My brother tried to drive through it, spent $1,200 on his Tahoe getting it fixed because the water got in his starter. Something has got to be done. I don't know what. But nobody will even come out there and talk to me and help me figure out the solution. And I don't know, I have animals up there, I have dogs, cats, horses up there. I need to be able to get out. That's all I got to say. I don't know what, somebody needs to help me. The man at the county said he can't come even talk to me because he has to have permission from higher up. Higher up. I don't know who higher up, all I do. But apparently nobody seems to, I don't want to use the word care. I know y'all concerned, but that doesn't help my feelings out when I get up and cannot get to work or get to wherever I need to be. And my brother is a disabled veteran. He's not able. I have tractors. I have all kinds of equipment, but I can't operate it. Somebody needs to help me. That's all I got to say.
Anyone else in the country? Anyone else? All right. Move on to board informational items. Mr. Tindall?
Yes, I just want to just elaborate a little bit. We do encourage citizens to come to these meetings. We all do. We want you to come. We want you to participate. And become more involved with county government. However, that doesn't give anybody the right to not respect this board or a staff member. There needs to be mutual respect from us to you and from you to us, so that we want you here, but that doesn't give anybody the right to attack our engineer or one of us. Just because we're elected doesn't mean that we deserve that. So let's try to have mutual respect for each other. So we want you to come back.
If you're talking about me, I asked a question. I didn't speak down to him, he talked down to me. That's all I have to say about that.
Thank God for Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, they only have one little problem. I can understand where Miss Johnson comes from. Isn't that your name is Johnson?
My name
Yes.
is Croft.
Yeah, I went up and looked at your place before.
You did.
You still have water problems?
And I appreciate you coming out there and looking. Yes, I am still having water problems. Every time it rains for me, I praise the Lord it don't rain for any length of time. Because yes, I had the people down the road, the Jarvises that were here one time we came. I don't even think what I was gonna say. Anyway, it started raining and I was at work and Miss Katie, my friend that lives down the road, Jarvis's daughter, called me and she said, get ready, it's coming your way. It was 2 days before it got to me. And in 2 days, I couldn't get out again.
I feel for you.
Thank you. That helps a lot, but it don't help me get out. But I need to go somewhere, and I have to go every day.
Well, all five of us heard your complaint. I'm pretty sure we.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. I appreciate you listening.
The other little problem I got, Short Street and Park Street, kind of on a lot on the corner. That's it. That's it.
Mr. Newman?
Yeah, I want to thank staff for their efforts. So, with dealing with this debris problem, it certainly does continue to affect our residents and roadways that are not for the city public. So, look forward to that conversation that'll be upcoming about the time in which that removal will begin. And so we can hopefully see an end to that. I do want to express my appreciation for everybody that's came into the meeting tonight. I do thank you for your efforts and your time and value that. So please keep up the good work, and we'll try to keep pace about that. And so thank you very much. And we're looking forward to a good meeting tomorrow, and hopefully we can see our state partners continue to aid our residents here in a positive way, and we certainly appreciate them demonstrating that with the revenues that they've come forward with. And so we got some work to continue and to finish some projects that have been started out, but we're looking to get across the finish line, and we're thankful for their help to do that. So thank you.
All I got to say, everybody needs to go home and drip their spigot. It's taking too long tonight.
Animals in.
On the redistricting, y'all passed the redistricting, and I talked with, Mr. Reeves, who's the Madison County attorney, and they spent a lot of money on getting theirs done. And he did a written resolution, and I got a copy of his, which the written resolution is real good. And it also had a description of each one of the districts. And so I talked with Kenneth. He agreed to give us a description, and we can do a resolution. It doesn't change anything, but it's just something that memorializing what we did, and I'll get that resolution done as soon as Kenneth gets that descriptions of each district. So if I ask you about it, it's not a change at all. All it is just memorializing what the board did. That's all I got. Just want to make y'all aware of that.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. All I have is, really, water. Did we ever get anything from you back say with regard to US 98 and maybe looking at these culverts and under this road that just don't seem to be moving any water flow?
Where are you speaking to?
Really from Osteen's pasture all the way to the Salt Lake.
This is under 98?
And even flowing parallel with 98. I just see a lot of debris, and really, there may not be nothing to do right now because the water is up on that side, and I see the south side is, and you may see the same thing, the south side of the highway is not necessarily full of water, so there's still room for water to move, and it's not moving off the highway. But I do know a lot of them culverts that's flowing parallel, that there's just trash, and there may not be nothing to do whether the water's up, but if it ever does get down,
I sent that to the local office. I'll double check on that.
Right.
They said they would go out and check it, but I'll check and see if I've gotten an update.
that's all I have. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We have a second? Second, all in favor?
Mind you.